Hello, I'm David Collins and I'm here to talk about where recovery coaching sits in comparison to the medical model. And so here we have recovery coaching, and here we will have the biopsychosocial model, which will be your traditional social workers, therapists, the clinical model. Here you'll have the medical model, and you'll have your the world of psychiatry, and then here you have your mutual aid model, or self-help or mutual support groups. And on this side here I want to draw a continuum, and here I'm going to put that positive psychology, and then down at the bottom here I'm going to call that wound-based psychology, where there's been a trauma that somebody needs treatment for. So this sits in the world of treatment, and then this is a place of wellness. And recovery coaching sits over here in the place of wellness, where we are looking for our clients to take responsibility to improve their relationships with their existing clinical therapists, social workers, psychologists, their existing medical doctors, psychiatrists, medical staff within the treatment world. So there's been a lot of history and a lot of study and a lot of academia that has gone into creating the world of medicine. And a lot of people need therapy and medication. And the recovery coach has no interest in that, in prescribing or pathologizing or diagnosing. What the coach is interested in is the relationship the client has with these resources. And is the client taking responsibility for the skill set that these resources has for the client based on their culture? So, for example, over here in South Africa, somebody that comes from an Afrikaans culture that is very Calvinistic. There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of, you keep it in the family. You don't talk about your feelings. That culture, might impact the person from getting necessary help from the biopsychosocial model in addressing unresolved issues of guilt, shame, and trauma. And so the coach's job would be to work with the therapist and to work with the client in motivating them to get help. First of all, from medical help, from a doctor, from a GP, or even a psychiatrist, to see how they respond to the medication, whether they're compliant to it, and whether they make use of the psychology or the healing that the therapist will have to move them from a place of, I'm going to say, wound-based psychology, and moving them towards positive psychology to a place of well-being, where they can live their life that is based on their values, has meaning and purpose. And this is the role of the coach. So the coach doesn't pathologize, the coach doesn't diagnose, the coach much rather supports the relationship the client has in these fields. So, for example, a client might come back, they might get the right medication for their diagnosis, maybe there's an underlying mood disorder, they might go and address some of the unresolved issues of trauma that have happened in the past, and then they might go back to, say, a church support group that will support them in their experience of life, in having a better experience in life. Now, the coaching conversation is structured so it's specific in it's a short-term intervention to support the client in making progress, in moving forward towards the solutions of their problems. It's about progress, it's about getting the client to move on. It's not about holding the client and keeping the client in a coaching practice. The coach really wants a client to improve their relationships with the therapeutic team and mutual aid groups that around them. So the coach is looking for the client to take responsibility for the recovery capital that is going to support them in their wellness going forward. And for all we know, recovery capital might be a gym, it might be a faith-based support group, it might be art classes, it might be continuing education, it might be changing careers, it might be finding a partner, it might be leaving a partner. Whatever it is, the coach's job is to support the client in taking responsibility with the team around them, in empowering themselves to go off and live a life of wellness that is so supported by their particular culture. So in South Africa we have 12 official languages, there's 11 spoken languages, and then there's sign language, and depending on that individual's culture, the coaching conversation will support the client in taking responsibility for that so that they can thrive within their community and going forward. So I hope that explains the role of the recovery coach. If the coach is coaching outside of those areas, that is unethical behavior, unless the coach is an existing doctor, yes, or an existing psychologist, social worker, priest, counselor, teacher, unless they have those skills already. And then what happens on the training is what we do is we see how the coaching conversation can enhance that person's relationships with their clients. Yeah. So, I would say in summary that recovery coaching sits in the realm of positive psychology, getting our clients to live in the place of meaning and purpose. And then that, of course, taps into the world of business coaching, which is made up of leadership and management. Yeah. And good leaders are taught coaching skills and mentorship skills. And all we've done is we've taken that wisdom and applied it to the world of medicine. So yes, I hope that defines what the role is. I hope it places where the role is. And I hope it brings more clarity to the boundaries of where a recovery coach works and doesn't work, and the team that they need to surround themselves with. Excuse the scribbling. But there's a lot of history that underpins all of this sort of stuff. and it would be remiss of us to throw the history out of the window and to think that coaching is some new, fancy, new-aged solution to replace these things. If anyone tells you that, it is not. If anything, coaching's been around a long time, and it's there to support these existing modalities. Thank you for watching.